Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining this session on reaching out and asking for help. My name is Alex Petrush, and I am representing FIT, the Timiș County Youth Foundation, a youth led organization from Timișoara, Romania. Today's module is part of the Resilience Plus project, which focuses on supporting the emotional well being, resilience, and social integration of LGBTQI youth. In this session, we will talk about why asking for help can be difficult, why it matters, and how youth workers and supportive adults can help LGBTQI young people find safe, respectful, and affirming spaces. Today, we will go through four main parts. First is that we will introduce the purpose of this module. Then we will discuss why asking for help matters, especially for LGBTQI young people who may experience stigma, isolation, or discrimination. After that, we will look at the building the courage to reach out. And finally, we will talk about how to choose the right person or service because the quality and safety of support are very important. So this module gives youth workers a framework for supporting LGBTQI young people when they need help. It is not only about telling young people you should ask someone. We also need to understand what makes reaching out difficult. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, concerns about confidentiality, or previous bad experiences. The module emphasizes consent, confidentiality, and an intersectional approach. And this means we should consider the whole person, their identity, family situation, culture, religion, mental health, social context, and level of safety. The overall goal is to help young people move from silence to support and from short-term coping to long-term well-being. So why asking for help matters? This message is simple but very important. It is okay to ask for help. Many young people need to hear this clearly, and they may believe they should manage everything alone or that their response are not serious enough. But for LGBTQI young people, asking for help can feel even more complicated because it may involve sharing something personal about their identity, family, relationships, or experiences of discrimination. So we need to normalize help seeking. Asking for help is not weakness, it is a healthy and courageous step. So why does it matter? Asking for help can make a real difference. It can lighten the emotional load because carrying everything alone can be overwhelming. It can also bring new perspectives. A trusted person may help the young person understand their situation differently or see options they could not see before. And support can take many forms. Talking to a friend, contacting a helpline, speaking to a youth worker or counselor, or joining a supportive group. And the key message is that seeking support is a form of self-care. It shows self-awareness, maturity, and strength. Breaking the silence. For many LGBTQI young people, silence is a major barrier. And in contexts such as Romania, Serbia, and Greece, which are the partner countries in this project, stigma and cultural taboos can make it difficult to talk openly about sexuality, gender identity, and mental health. Young people may fear being judged, rejected, or misunderstood. They may also live in conservative communities where LGBTQI+ topics are rarely discussed in a positive way or not discussed at all. And breaking the silence does not mean forcing someone to disclose everything. It means creating safe spaces where young people can speak when they are ready, with control over what they share and with confidence that they will be respected. Challenging misconceptions. A big part of our role is helping young people challenge misconceptions about asking for help. Some may think my problem is not serious enough. Others may think if I need help, I am weak. But needing support is human. Recognizing the need of support is actually a sign of strength and self-awareness. We can also remind young people that early support can prevent problems from becoming even bigger. And in many cultures, mental health support is still stigmatized. That is why we need to repeat a clear message that everyone deserves support and no one should have to struggle alone. Cultural taboos. Now, this slide focuses on cultural taboos around mental health and sexuality. In some families or communities, these topics are difficult to discuss, especially with older generations or in more traditional environments. But attitudes are slowly changing. More professionals, parents, schools, and youth organizations are becoming aware of LGBTQI+ inclusion and mental health needs. And when a young person reaches out and receives a respectful response, this helps not only the individual, but also the wider culture. It challenges silence and stigma. And every positive support experience sends a message that the LGBTQI+ youth deserve care, safety, and respect. Now we move to building the courage to reach out. It is normal for young people to feel nervous or afraid when asking for help, and that is for any young person. Courage does not mean having no fear. Courage means taking a step even when fear is present. For LGBTQI+ youth, fear may be based on real experiences of rejection, bullying, or discrimination, for example. So our role as youth workers is not to pressure them. Our role is to support the process patiently and help them take manageable steps towards help. One useful strategy is to help young people name their fears. Instead of staying with the general feeling of I'm scared, we can ask gently what exactly feels scary. Is it fear of being judged? Fear of rejection, fear that confidentiality will not be respected, fear of not knowing how to start the conversation. When fears like these are named, they become easier to address. For example, if a young person worries that a teacher or coach may react badly, we can validate the fear and then look for concrete information. Confidentiality rules, professional ethics, or signs that the person is LGBTQI+ friendly. Your fear makes sense, and we can plan around it. And this would be the main message when naming someone's fears. Another important step is to reframe asking for help as strength. A useful question is, if a friend told you they were struggling, would you think they were weak? Most young people would say no, and they would probably see their friend as brave. We can help them apply that same compassion to themselves. Helpful phrases might be, I am doing the best I can, or getting support is a brave step, or I do not have to handle this alone. This kind of self-talk can reduce shame and make reaching out feel more possible. Draw on resilience. LGBTQI+ young people often show resilience long before they ask for help. They may have navigated pressure at school, family stress, isolation, or discrimination, and they may have found online communities, supported friends, or learned to understand their identity. And as youth workers, we can reflect these resilience back to them. We can say, you have already handled difficult things, or you have already taken important steps. These reminders can help young people believe they are capable of taking the next step towards support. Connect role models and allies. They can make asking for help feel less frightening. Stories are powerful. When young people hear that others reached out and benefited from support, they may feel less alone. We can also help them map an ally circle. This could include friends, siblings, relatives, teachers, counselors, doctors, youth workers, or any LGBTQI+ organizations. For young people who are not out, anonymous or moderated online spaces may be also a safer first step. But the goal is to show them that support exists and they do not have to carry everything by themselves. Teach practical strategies to manage anxiety. Even when a young person wants help, anxiety can make the first step difficult. So practical tools can help. Before a difficult conversation, they can try 5 slow breaths, for example, or short grounding exercise, or writing down what they want to say. They might prepare a sentence like, I have been struggling and I need to talk to someone, or there is something personal I want to share but I am nervous. Roleplay can also be useful. We can practice the conversation with them, and if speaking face-to-face feels too hard, starting with a message or email can be a good first step, or even like writing on the paper. It is also important to set small goals and celebrate progress, because it becomes reaching out becomes easier when we break this into small steps. And the first one might be reading a resource, saving a helpline number, opening a chat with a support service, telling a trusted friend one small thing, or booking a first appointment for counseling. And each step matters. As youth workers, we should celebrate effort, not only outcomes. We can say that was a brave step, or even looking at the options counts. Courage grows gradually, and the first act of courage may simply be admitting, I think I need support. So, how to choose the right person or service? This is important because not everyone will respond helpfully. Some people may be kind but not trained. Others may not respect confidentiality or may not understand LGBTQI+ experiences. So we should guide young people to think carefully about who feels safe, trustworthy, respectful, and appropriate for their situation. A good first experience of support can build trust. A harmful response can make someone retreat into silence. That is why choosing carefully matters. Identify safe adults. A safe adult could be a supportive family member, teacher, counselor, coach, doctor, youth worker, or any other trusted person. But it is useful to look for concrete signs of safety. Does the person use inclusive language? Do they challenge discrimination? Do they respect privacy? Do they listen without judgment? Have they shown support for LGBTQI+ people before? And young people do not need to share everything all at once, of course. They can start with something small and observe the response. If the adult responds with respect, trust can grow. If the response feels unsafe, it may be better to look for somewhere else. Professional help versus peer support. Peer support and professional help are both valuable, but they are different. Peers can offer understanding, emotional connection, and validation like any other friend. Sometimes a young person only needs to hear you are not alone, but peers may not have the training to respond to severe distress, abuse, trauma, or suicidal thoughts, for example. And professionals can offer trained support, confidentiality tools, and referrals. And for serious stress, self-harm risk, suicidal thoughts, or abuse, professional help is especially important. And the best support network often includes both trusted peers and for belonging, and professional help for deeper or urgent support. Finding LGBTQI+ affirming services. When looking for professional help, it is important to find LGBTQI+ affirming services. This may include counseling centers, clinics, helplines, youth services, or organizations. A few questions can help. Does the service clearly mention LGBTQI+ inclusion? Do they use respectful language? Do they explain confidentiality? Do staff have experience working with LGBTQI+ youth? If the answer is unclear, it may help to contact the service directly and ask. People from local community organizations can also recommend affirming professional and safe services. Online and in-person support. Support can happen online or in person. Online support can feel more private, anonymous, and easier to access. This can be especially useful for young people who are not out, who live in smaller communities, or who are afraid of being seen entering a service. But in-person support can offer deeper connection and a stronger sense of presence and safety. And a hybrid approach can also work. A young person may start online to build confidence and later move toward in-person counseling or group support when they feel ready. But the right choice depends on safety, access, comfort, and the need of the young individual. So whom to confide in among friends or family? When choosing someone among friends or family, the key question is who makes the young person feel safe, heard, and respected. This could be a sibling, cousin, someone their age, a friend, but even parents or grandparents or another trusted person. It can help to test the waters first by sharing something small or asking a general question. It is also important to talk about privacy. A young person may need to say, please do not share this with anyone without asking me first. And a good listener does not take control of the young person's story. A good listener supports them. Now, this slide makes an important distinction between emergency support and ongoing support. If a young person is in immediate danger, feels unsafe, is experiencing abuse, or is at risk of self-harm, urgent help is needed. Definitely. This may include crisis hotlines, emergency numbers, safeguarding services, or trusted adults who can act quickly. Youth workers should not manage serious risk alone. They should follow safeguarding procedures. For ongoing stress, sadness, anxiety, or family tension, the young person may need sustained support. Counseling, weekly groups, regular check-ins, or a well-being plan. And a strong safety net includes both, again, crisis options for urgent moments and regular support for long-term well-being. So thank you very much for your attention and for being part of this session. Today we talked about why asking for help matters, why it can be difficult, and how youth workers can support LGBTQI+ young people in reaching out safely. We discussed stigma, cultural taboos, fear, courage, resilience, safe adults, professional support, peer support, and the difference between emergency and ongoing help. I want you to remain with this, that asking for help is not weakness, not at all. It is a step towards safety, connection, and well-being. And as youth workers and supportive adults, our role is to make that step feel possible, safe, respectful, and affirming. So thank you again for following the webinars for the Resilience Plus project. This has been the last one of our last module, and I invite you to also check out the other ones on the platform. So yeah, thank you very much. And don't forget to also follow us on social media, resilience.project.eu on LinkedIn and Instagram, and check out our website, www.resilience.fit.ro, for our other products and what we have done within this project. See you next time. Thank you.